Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Chelsea, and welcome to
Nick and Chelsea's Gen Excellent Adventure, where we chronicle 50-something parents of a 5-year-old as we move from the USA to the UAE.
You can also follow along with our journey on our Instagram page, Nick Chels Gen Excellent Adventure. That's the handle. Or you can just type in the full title, which is the same as this podcast, Nick and Chelsea's Gen Excellent Adventure. So we have things there that are a little shorter, more spontaneous, unique, some snippets that aren't in the podcast, and sometimes it will relate to the podcast. If you have any questions or subjects you'd like us to address, go ahead and send them through our Instagram page.
Yeah, and that's something new. We haven't solicited any questions yet.
I know.
So, but really we've kind of wanted to do this from the beginning,
Yep.
And we're just now remembering that we should actually tell people that.
Yep. So we'll ask for questions that way, maybe in an actual question box. Feels so official. Have you even seen a question box?
I have, but maybe not on Instagram.
That's what I meant.
Certainly on other
Platforms.
platforms.
Okay. Because Nick is really not he's not a regular Instagram user, or he wasn't until we started this.
I was more of a Instagram consumer.
Oh, okay.
I would look at things, but
Yeah.
I don't really post a whole lot.
Okay. I don't think I even knew you were looking at things. All right. So today we have some topics to go through. I'm going to let Nick introduce the first one.
Well, I guess our main topic this week is we want to talk about building community here in Dubai and what that process has been like and sort of how we've gone about doing it and where we are in the process.
Yeah, that's good.
So what do you think? How do you feel that our building community has gone so far?
You know, we're a month and a half in, and I would say it's doing pretty well. I think sometimes I get really impatient, and I'm like, faster, faster. I want to have play dates all the time. But considering school started 3 weeks ago, and T has had a couple play dates, and I have actual outing plans and we've gone out with people, I'm feeling like, oh, this is actually much more social than we were back home.
Well, I mean, let's get right down to it. You are a very social person and you are good at connecting with other people. And you've done very good job of that since we've gotten here, whether it's through, you can talk about the various ways that you've really been able to find people.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like we're doing stuff all of the time. But I think one of the things I've realized is that, especially because we're nowhere near our family and friends from home, we have to work really hard to make sure that we have a life here. It's a little easier for me because I do go to work and talk to people during the day. And I think that probably isn't as fun for you because you don't get to do that. You can comment on that if you would like.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't have a workplace at the moment. So yeah, that easy way of finding people to communicate with is not there at this point in time, for sure.
Right. So when I do have an opportunity to do an outing as a family, it feels like, oh, good. Nick's getting out to meet people too, and that feels really good. And so the first thing I'm going to do is shout out the very important American Moms in Dubai Facebook page, because I've literally met 3 people that way that I actually talk to and spend time with. And I would say that we have spent time with, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And one of them works at the school next door, and she's been so helpful. She befriended me back in the spring, and she stayed in touch over the summer, and she's invited us to her home, we threw our kid there with the nanny for a night so we could go to back to school night. Like, just really so generous with time, and we go on walks every week. That has just been such a helpful and wonderful person to have. I felt so welcome and just grateful. And it's somebody I see, I text with, all of that. There's also another couple people on there that we've gotten together with and really have enjoyed their families, including one just this past weekend, and we spent 4 hours with them.
Well, and it was at this restaurant, this American-themed restaurant out on the Palm Jumeira. Mm-hmm. So it was in the Hilton on the Palm Jumeira. So the fanciest, not the fanciest, but a very fancy hotel that you would not expect to see this type of restaurant in.
No, but they have 11 restaurants in there.
not many people will get this reference, but when we were there, I felt very much like the scene from Ted Lasso season 3, where they are in Amsterdam and Ted ends up in an American restaurant.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
That is kind of sort of the cliches of what it is to be an American. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it was fine, but I mean, it did feel a little cliche-ish to me at least.
Oh, that was their goal.
Yeah,
I'm sure. There's like pinball machines, little basketball hoops, and what was the thing that T kept getting so interested in?
The punching bag.
No, the bull or the bull rider thing.
Oh, the mechanical bull.
The mechanical bull. That's what it's called.
Yeah, they had a mechanical bull there that wasn't going when we were there.
Yeah, but he just was so fascinated by the idea of it. He just wanted to keep showing us and our friends.
And yeah, it was great meeting people there. And you know, like I was saying, I mean, you're the extroverted one of the two of us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, you really kind of took steps before we went to start this process. I mean, you're talking about the first person you met back in the spring.
I mean, I didn't make those steps. She took those steps. But yeah.
But you were on the page.
I got on the page. Somebody told me about it. Somebody who knew a friend of mine who lived here at the time but has since moved told me I should get on that page and that would be a good resource for me. And indeed, she was correct. So I was using it first as just a place to ask questions like about moving and so forth, and that was useful. And even to find out about sports and things like that, building community for our kid. But in the end, it's just been so much more than that. And I will shout out the South Seattle Stroller Brigade. It is not that. The South Seattle Stroller Brigade is extra special. There's just so much goodness on that page, so much love and care for one another. It's not quite like that, but it's still a good resource, and I've still met some really great people that way, including somebody from Seattle, which is awesome.
And one thing I will say is that having that in place, so the fact that you found some people before we came or right when we came, it really did give us a little, head start in terms of adjusting. Because we know people, I mean, specifically some people who you work with who also were brand new to Dubai, who did not have that before they got here.
That's correct.
And, I think the transition was smoother for us.
Yep.
Because we had at least somebody giving us an idea of what to expect or things to do. I think specifically of the things to bring.
Yeah.
I mean, we were aware that there were certain things like spices that it was a good idea to bring yourself.
Yep.
Because of a combination of availability and expense.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So, yeah, the Facebook page really been valuable for our situation.
Yeah. Now, we need an American Dads in Dubai Facebook page, so could somebody please start that? Because Nick needs to connect with other dads. That would be really cool. And then also just randomly chatting with people. I will say mostly expats because 90% of Dubai is expats. But like when T and I were at the park a couple weeks ago and we talked to this guy from London for a while. I think we mentioned this on the podcast early last week maybe, but just that felt like, it's just, these are the ways you build community. It's not like we're going to hang out with that guy again, but it was so nice. And of course, the school community is huge. And for me right now, it's building community within where I work, not the entire school at this point, but within the high school. And then T has his first class birthday party, or somebody in the class's birthday party this Friday. So that's more of a chance to connect. Now, I am going to stay home, and Nick is going to go with T because some of these parents have high schoolers, and I'm a little nervous that if they find out I'm a counselor at the high school, that I'm going to get too many questions at a birthday party, having nothing to do with the birthday.
But, that's for a potential for us to meet some other parents in the class. T himself, it's important for him to be able to build community too, and he's starting to do that as well.
Yeah, like how are you seeing that?
Well, I guess the first thing is, he really has somebody I would say is a real friend now.
Yes.
True. This is a kid. It's not in his class. This is a child who is the son of another new employee at the school.
Right.
And because of that, they got to kind of know each other before school began because they were both in the child care.
Right. It was like a child care for new staff and then returning staff after a week.
But this kid is a year older, but they really seem to hit it off really well.
They have a very similar extroverted big boy energy.
And I mean, it was a great thing last weekend, or over the weekend, when we took T to a kind of indoor play area that's maybe a little more high level than the ones that we've been to so far with him. Had kind of climbing walls where they can go like 25 feet in the air.
It's kind of a ropes course.
Course up there. They actually have people who are working with them, putting them in the harnesses for
teaching them
for the wall climbing, and so forth. So a lot more involved than the ones he'd experienced before. So he had a really good time doing that for an hour.
Yeah.
And then you and I were hanging out at a bakery nearby.
Oh yeah, because it was in a mall, and this was the first play area we've been to where that you can drop your kid off. It was so exciting. So we just sat at this cafe that we'd been having breakfast at for another hour, and because nobody kicks you out at restaurants, we'll have that be a longer episode. But and then I had mentioned to this other child's parent that we were there because I knew they liked this place, and they were coming later than we were going to be there. And in fact, they came as we were packing up to leave. And I was like, what the heck? Just do another hour. Be with your friend. Because our child is a happier person when they are socially connecting. Much like me. Yeah. Honestly. Yeah.
So that's been good to see that. He seems to be finding his place.
Yeah. And even that hour when he was playing there without his friend, when I picked him up, he pointed out this kid who is ahead of him, and he was like, "Mommy, that's my friend." So he found a person, and you had seen him, you'd kind of spied on him.
Right, yeah. He was during it, I kind of poked my head into the place, and you couldn't really see everything, but there was one little edge of one area that I could see if they came running around the corner, and they were just running around over and over again, having a good old time. So that was really good to see, because back in Seattle, T was good at finding people at the playground. Yeah. By the time we would go by ourselves, but by the time we left, usually he had found somebody to
or a pack, and it could be any age, honestly.
And at the indoor play areas here, he hadn't really done that much yet. A lot of it because of the fact that there were birthday parties going on. So a lot of people go to these places with groups. Yeah. And so if you're not part of the group, that's a lot harder to kind of work into that dynamic. But this was less of that. I didn't think there was any birthdays going on.
There was a birthday going on.
Oh, you're right, there was. But there were a lot of other people who weren't birthday people there. Yeah. So it's been good to see him starting to find his social circle.
And I bought a pack of 10. So it's really not far from our house. We've been going to the park across the street every week, so it feels like something we'll just use easily, no problem. And once it's better weather, we can hang on to those until the bad weather again. So we've just really made an effort I don't even say we've made a ton of effort. I would say it is happening, and part of that is being in an international school community, and part of it is being in a place with a lot of expats.
Right.
And so it feels good. And the other thing, one more thing about his friend who just moved here too, is because he's a year older, he's got some higher level skills and, awareness of his body and so forth. And he taught T how to do a frontwards flip into the foam pit. Yeah. And that was amazing. There's no way he would have done that before this kid showed him. But I think this was one of those positive peer influence things, and that kid was so proud that he taught that, and T was so proud that he could do it. Yeah, it was really cool.
When we went to go pick him up, he insisted that we come over to watch him do this. And he was just beaming about being able to do that. And they talked about how his friend told him when he was scared to close his eyes when doing it. Yeah. And that, I guess, got him over the hump, and now he can do that, and I'm sure he'll be doing it again in the future.
Yep.
Well, one thing I also want to mention about that you kind of touched on, but one thing that does make it easier for building community is because of the expat nature of the city.
Yeah.
Everyone's kind of going through the same thing.
It's true.
They're trying to find community as well. And so you got people reaching out to you.
Right.
This couple that we met this past weekend, they kind of had initiated.
Well, she did on the American Moms page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it isn't just all about us going out and trying to find it. There are others who are also seeking, and that makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, and it was really great. And yeah, we spent like 4 hours, and that was so nice. And we really enjoyed them, and we will see them again, you know. And which is nice also to expand community past school. Mm-hmm. I appreciate that a lot. And that just reminded me, I had another person that I started to get to know a little bit at school who was awesome and left me her number, and I changed phone cases, and now I'm like, where is that number? Because I hadn't put it in my phone. I just put it like on a sticky on my phone, and now I want to find it. Anyway, I don't see her every day, so it's not like I can just be, where's your number? Okay. So moving on to a completely different topic that we teased last week, let's talk bidets.
Yes. So you may know about this. I mean, it is a thing in the U.S. now, but it is still pretty rare there. We are in a country where every toilet has a bidet with it, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, you go out into the malls and the public bathrooms, every stall has a bidet there. And for those who don't know, it's basically...
I don't think we need to explain it.
Okay.
Let's not do that. Please, no. But I will say that when I was in Abu Dhabi 11 years ago on that visit to NYU for counselors, I was in a hotel, and of course there was a bidet, and I just stared at it. And I was like, I don't understand. I didn't do a Google search. If you don't know what a bidet is, bidet, look it up. Mm-hmm. There we go. But I'm going to guess most people here do know at this point. But we have never lived with one. I had never used one. I sat at that hotel for 4 days going, I don't know. I don't understand. And now I feel like, okay, it took us what? It took me maybe a week to use it at home here at the apartment. And then I was like, oh my gosh, where has this been all my life? Like, I am here for this. I've never felt so clean. This is great. And T absolutely loves it.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, I'm done. Come do the bidet. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Which is,
he tried to do it on himself once. That's not a good move. He's 5. He can't aim. It didn't go well. But, it's fine. We can help him.
Yeah, well, that's one thing I was going to say is with T, I mean, he had been gradually sort of learning the process of wiping himself at home.
Yeah.
And
then we threw this in.
Yeah, this has wiped that out. That is no longer part of the process anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, now we got to try to figure out a much more complicated and potentially hazardous way of being able to take care of that particular business on his own.
Yeah.
So that just means we got another step in.
That's right. Just have to teach him a little bit differently. But in the meantime, Nick.
Yeah, so I've been intrigued by bidets for a while. Back in the States, you have family members who have them.
Yeah, yeah.
And
well, one grew up in the Middle East with bidets. Mm-hmm. And one is my dad, who needed to get something when he was having a surgery, and he loves it.
But I've always been, very intrigued by the idea.
Yeah.
And yet I have not done it yet.
Nick is legitimately scared.
There is some bidet fear going on. I'm going to admit it. Every day it's like, this is the day.
I cannot believe it.
And then it just doesn't happen.
Well, now that this is out in public.
I know, it's going to force me to do it this week.
Because
there's going to be next week a report on how did it go did you overcome your fear?
Yes, this is the teaser.
So yes, I guess if you're really interested in this subject, congratulations, you might get some more next week.
Yep. So moving on from bidets, we're going to talk hydration. Mm-hmm. Okay. So Okay. I have discovered that I just have like a little bit of nausea much of the time. I might have mentioned this before. I think I might have. Have you mentioned it?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay. We talk about it. We're like, gosh, do you just have like a little nausea, a fair amount, in ways I never had before I moved here? And then I was mentioning that to someone, and they were telling someone at work who was like, oh yeah, anybody who ends up in the hospital, the first thing they do at the hospital is they hook you up to a liquid drip, because you will be dehydrated. She says everyone here is low level dehydrated. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, and that's just because the combination of the heat and humidity here during this time of year in particular just makes it really hard to keep yourself hydrated. Even if you're drinking water constantly. I mean, you're about the best water drinker I can think of.
That you know of. There are better.
And you're
I'm feeling dehydrated.
Having these moments. And I kind of recognized it that first week because I experienced little bouts of dehydration, mainly from being an athlete previously in my life. So I kind of knew a little bit of what the signs might be.
Yeah.
And whereas you didn't really know that was what was happening.
I didn't know nausea was part of it. And now I'm like, oh, that's what it is. Okay, where are the electrolytes? But anyway, within that first couple weeks of being here, we got to go to that cultural center that we talked about a while back. And at the cultural center, the guy who was giving a talk told us that their hint for dehydration was to squeeze lemon and some salt into water. And so we now just have lemons in the house all the time. And we, of course, have salt. So we're doing that kind of on a regular basis, like maybe once a day you have that. And then if I am like, nausea, because that's kind of my prevention. But if I have a little of that nausea, I'm now keeping hydration packets around. Again, my friend down the road told me about Humantra, which she said everyone at her school uses. And I bought a tri-pack of 3 different flavors, just a sample packet. And I am not a sweet drink person, so the only one I liked was the lime. Tea, however, loved the other two.
Yes, he was like, can I have electrolyte?
Yeah. We've moved him past that. We don't want him to rely on them because then he would never drink water. So we're trying to really get him to be more serious about the water. Because the other thing that happened is he had a nosebleed. His first ever. He's never had one. And he was in the gym at school. It was like during PE. And he just had to learn that was probably because you were dehydrated. You have to drink better water. And he just doesn't really listen to us very well about it. So that helped a little bit, instilled a little bit of, oh, this is really important into him. But we still have to constantly remind him. Anyway, you just have to be really on your water game, your hydration game, your electrolytes game here. And I would like to point out, I don't like Gatorade. Electrolyte packets are expensive if you don't like Gatorade.
They are everywhere. Though.
They're everywhere.
I mean,
that's true.
It's not like back in the States. This is has its own part of the shelf.
Yeah.
In all the various supermarkets, hypermarkets, so forth.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, we ordered meal kits this week, and I threw in some electrolyte packets that they had a sampling of for a different brand, and I was like, let's just try it. Maybe there are others we will like. But the Humantra lime ones, those are good. I think they're pretty good. I don't make them as concentrated as they want me to make them, but they're still pretty good. So just a little bit about electrolytes. If you come, and I wanted to comment. You said, especially in this time of year, but I bet as we get into the slightly cooler weather, the good weather, as they say, this is still an issue, and people don't think of it as an issue because it feels better outside.
Right. Well, they'll probably be, we know we are going to be spending more time outside.
A lot more.
When we get to the fall, to the winter, and so forth.
Yeah.
And that'll probably have its own effect of sapping you.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that this is a year-round thing. I mean, it wouldn't be on all the shelves if it wasn't something that it was needed all the time.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I don't know why I haven't started just putting them in my purse, but my coworker told me that she just keeps them in the purse all the time.
Well, it's because you don't have easy access to water everywhere.
Oh, well, that's true. You're right. You don't have that.
Yeah, that's one thing also here, as far as trying to stay hydrated. There aren't water fountains or water stations in the way that there is back in Seattle, at least.
Right. And people, when you go to a restaurant, people aren't if they're like, do you want some water? It's always water you pay for, like similar to Europe. You know, it's still or it's sparkling. They don't really give you tap water because you don't know if it's going to be good tap water. So people buy their own dispensers, and, you know, if we fill up a water bottle, I leave it in my purse a lot, but I don't always want to put a packet in my Keep It Pure water bottle. Anyway, so that's just a hint. If you come to Dubai, be prepared to drink more water than you've ever drunk in your entire life. Okay, so we're moving on towards the end of the show where we do our...
Well, it's time for your excellent and bogus. So these are our nod to Bill and Ted, our positives and negatives from this past week. So let's see, who starts off this week?
You should start off.
Okay, so my excellent for this week is that we finally did our drive around the Palm Jumeira.
I think it's just, you can take the out. Palm Jumeira.
Okay. Well, we finally did it. I mean, for those who don't know, they have these terraformed islands right off the coast that are in the shape of a palm tree. So if you're looking at the satellite view and you're looking at down, you're going to see this giant palm tree right off the coast. And they have the trunk and some palm fronds, and then the kind of a halo going around the whole thing.
Crescents.
And you can drive, well, I mean, this is a fancy neighborhoods, basically.
Very nice, yeah.
And there are people who live on the fronds.
Yeah.
Those are houses out there. And then, like, all the fancy hotels are on the crescents.
The really famous hotel called Atlantis.
Yeah.
That you see from our window on a not too smoggy day.
Yeah. Well, and it's very close. I mean, if you were to just kind of, go in a straight line, my guess is that it's within a kilometer or two from where we're
like
at.
as a crow flies.
So it's kind of like, why haven't we gone out and done this yet?
Yeah.
But it's not so simple. It might be that close, but it is on the other side of the Sheikh Al Zayed Road, which is the main 12-lane highway going through Dubai. And there's no going under or over this road.
Right.
You have to get on it and off it to get to the other side.
Right.
So it is actually at least a 10-minute drive at minimum for us to get there.
Right. And if you listened to our podcast last week, you know that we do a lot to try to avoid that road.
Yeah. But this week, because we were meeting, that
friends,
couple out there on the Palm, we kind of spontaneously decided, well, maybe this is after it was over, we decided, well, is this the time to go finally do the drive?
Yeah.
And we did. And so we went all the way out to the end of it and onto the crescents, and kind of went all the way down the east side, which is, I would say, the fancier side because it has the view of downtown when you're going on that crescent.
Yeah.
And so we drove past Atlantis and past the Waldorf Astoria and all the incredible, I mean, some of these are crazy architecture.
So, some are so cool. And you're going, we couldn't help but wonder if, rising sea levels and all of this was just like, when is this all going to sink? But right now, it is really something to behold. It's beautiful and it's interesting. Oh, and one of the coolest things is it has this boardwalk that goes around both crescents. And there's more than that because my coworker was telling me about this bike path that you could do around the entire Palm. That wasn't what she meant. But this boardwalk was gorgeous. Nobody, of course, was on it because it's too hot. But we got out of the car for 15 minutes. Yeah, this is after we went over to the west side where you didn't have to, as far as we could tell, you weren't getting charged for parking there. Yeah, we're not sure.
Because I think that because you didn't have a view of downtown, you had a view of the harbor instead. Right. Which is a lot less picturesque.
It's more industrial.
And so my guess is that's why they didn't seem to have the
that, and it's
there.
Still in development over there, whereas the other side is mostly developed. But it was really beautiful. So we sat out for about 15 minutes. And even T got into looking around and kind of looking at the ocean and everything. And then back to dehydration.
Well, I mean, that's one thing, though. It's because it was so... You're out there on the ocean, so you're getting the ocean breeze. Yeah. And so that made it much more tolerable just being outside. It felt cooler. I mean, it wasn't a situation where it was like, after 2 minutes, okay, we're done. Let's get back in the car and the air conditioning. Right. It felt... I mean, it was hot, but it felt less oppressive.
Yeah.
And so I really enjoyed being able to sit outside for 15 minutes,
so
relaxing in the sun,
Yeah.
which is not something we've done yet here.
No, you're right. We've walked, but no, we haven't just like sat relaxing. However, last night we both were like, ooh, we maybe should have had more water after that 15 minutes, because you don't really notice that you're so hot because of the breeze. And then we were like, oh, but we were actually.
But, it's still, everything was great. I love the fact that we got to get out onto the Palm and got to see it firsthand.
Yeah.
And that we got a little moment outside as well.
Yeah.
That all made that a big excellent for me.
Yeah, I agree. So then my excellent was, I should say, the Barsha Pond Park. Because if you follow us on Instagram, we talk about this a lot. But I've been taking T every week. Nick came once, but in the end, it's kind of nice for just me and T to go. It's like our time together. And we walk the loop. We tried the playground a couple times. It's just too hot and no one else is there. So he's kind of bored. He wants to do the loop with me. It's about 1.5 kilometers, so about a mile. And we go around 7:30. And there's lots of people exercising. I am so sweaty, and T gets really sweaty, but we are doing that loop. So we've acclimated a little bit so that we can do the loop now. There's no way we could have done that when we first moved here. And also, it's more humid than it was, but the temperature's dipped a tiny bit. So it's like 90-something degrees when we get there, but it feels like 102, but somehow we are walking that darn loop. And T's actually running half of it. I mean, it's crazy. But we'll stop and look at the birds and take a break on a bench, and he can have his applesauce, stuff like that. It's a special time.
Well, and this is as far as I can tell, it's a pretty well-regarded park here in Dubai. I mean, it's not super big as parks go, but I mean, it's nice. And we're at a time of year where I don't think a lot of stuff is happening there. I think it's going to get more hopping.
Oh, well, yeah. They rent boats, and they have an ice cream stand.
They have swan boats out there. It feels, for those in Seattle, there's a certain Green Lake feel about it, other than the fact that this is clearly artificial.
Yeah.
Whereas Green Lake is natural.
Right, there's fountains in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm waiting for our Bellagio moment there at Barsha Pond Park.
Yeah, but the landscaping is really pretty there, and I really love it. It's like a favorite for sure. It's like a nice ritual. And then we follow it up by going out to breakfast at this place across the street from the Galleria. Well, it's funny because we're at the park. Across the street is the Galleria, but then I have to go home and get Nick 6 minutes away, and then I come back and we go to breakfast at the Galleria. But I'm for this ritual. I say we keep doing it forever and ever. And it doesn't have to be one particular day, but we went on Saturday this week. We went on Friday last week because it was a holiday, and who knows what we'll do this coming week. But love it. Love the Barsha Pond Park. Also curious about other pond parks because I saw one on a map. So then I want to see what other neighborhoods have these. Okay, so moving on to the boguses.
Yes. So let's see. My bogus this week is all about sort of the waste. One thing about being here is that there's more waste than there was back home. Now, I will say this much, that we do have recycling in our complex. Mm-hmm. So that is helpful.
There are questions on if it actually gets recycled.
But, we're used to having a robust recycling and yard waste and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And the yard waste in particular, we don't have that. And as far as I can tell, there is none here.
No, it feels really bad when you're used to it.
Yeah, and so, putting all of your food scraps into the garbage, it's just not something that we're used to doing.
No, we haven't.
Going back to it feels weird. And the other part of that is that it is such a delivery oriented culture here.
Right.
Everybody's getting everything delivered. You don't have to leave your home if you don't want to. You can have everything delivered to you, and it is normal. I think there are people who are kind of doing that.
Well, yeah, and it's not a crazy fee. Like at home, the fee goes up so much if you get a Uber Eats or something, DoorDash or whatever. But here, you can choose to tip, and I do because, I do. But the fee is not exorbitant, or there is no fee, and the prices aren't really any different from what you would get if you went to the place. So,
a good example. You spontaneously decided to have popcorn delivered that we could eat while watching a movie.
Yeah, because we didn't have any microwave popcorn, so...
And that came in like...
20 minutes.
20 minutes.
It was great.
And it was, 12 dirhams?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, it was an illustration of what the delivery culture is like here. But the problem is that when you do that, you end up with a bag and a box and something wrapped in plastic.
Right.
And so you get a lot more that you're having to dispose of one way or another. And, some of that goes to recycling, and that's nice. But still, it does feel weird. I mean, when I do a modest-sized grocery delivery, for example, from the bags will come with paper bags, and they're smaller. They're not like the grocery size paper bags that you have back in the States. And so you'll end up with like 7 or 8 of these paper bags.
At least they're paper.
Yeah. But it still feels like, oh man, we've gotten used to trying to generate less waste,
being
especially
a little bit more
Seattle,
environmentally conscious,
and being from Seattle, and so the adjustment kind of going the other direction here has been a little challenging for me.
For sure. And for example, you'll find a lot of places do have compostable containers, which is great, and I guess that's fine. They're going into garbage landfill somewhere, and hopefully they compost better than the other garbage. But you are like, oh, if only there was a yard waste, and it could just all be composted in a really responsible way. So I don't know, maybe there's people here who are working on that, but it is hard to go backwards like that. Anyway. Okay, so my bogus is food expense. Okay, so people talk about how everything is expensive in Dubai, and a lot of that is true, except rental cars. And occasionally you can find a cheap shawarma, and it's really tasty, but most often food is expensive. And I mean, it's more than the States expensive in some ways. If we'll go out to eat, the 3 of us, it usually costs over 200 dirhams, which would be what?
200 dirhams is $50-some.
Okay, well, I guess that's not too much different than the States. But, and we don't get alcohol when we go out or anything like that. So you just take that into consideration. But it's hard to even get a lunch or a breakfast for, I mean, it's usually costing more than 200. So let's say it's 225, 250. So it just feels like my salary is a lot less. And now I work at a school and I don't have to pay for housing. So that is huge. And you do go out to eat here. This is what people do. It's a big part of it. So we're doing it. But it is just whoa, I wonder what it would have been like 5 years ago. Because this is what people say. They're like, even 5 years ago, this was a lot cheaper. Now, good for Dubai. I'm not criticizing it. It's just a bummer for our life, right? So, because Dubai has grown a lot and they've worked very hard to make it a destination, and they have done so. But it's not cheap.
Well, and then what I'll say though is if you're getting groceries, I don't think it's a whole lot different than it is back in the States.
Yeah, you get more groceries than I do.
Unless you're looking for something from home.
Right. If you want to get something like Annie's mac and cheese, which is our go-to mac and cheese, they had it at Spinny's, right?
Yep. But it was 36 dirhams for a box. So that's $9-10 box of mac and cheese, which feels
a lot. It's a lot.
Feels like it's not worth it.
And mac and cheese isn't really a thing here. So if you're looking for it, you found it, and also you're like, oh, but maybe we should just make it. Let's get the recipe.
Well, and the other thing is that you don't have a California here. And what that means is that the produce doesn't last as long.
Right.
Which, that makes sense. I mean, it's not being grown next door.
The lettuce is good, and it is being grown here, and that does last decently.
Cucumbers. Cucumbers is one that I think they must do here because they're good.
They're so good.
And they're everywhere. So, I mean, it's clearly a large part of what the produce consumption is here in Dubai.
Like dates.
Yeah.
Which don't really go bad. But yeah, it is. So food is an interesting, just the expense of it is interesting. of course you want some things that are the comfort of home, but I'm already like, okay, we got to make a list of things we bring back after the holidays that we bring back from the States, because you are allowed to bring items in. I mean, not fresh produce, of course, but like we brought spices with us and so forth. So we'll be bringing back...
going to Costco for that Annie's pack of mac and cheese.
Yeah, and a lot of people have told me they like to get Gatorade packets at Costco. I won't be doing that because I don't like Gatorade, but that kind of thing. And if you like it, maybe we should do it. But just stuff to sustain you and stuff to make you feel like happy about the comforts of home. All right, I think we have hit our episode.
Yeah, so remember, if you have any questions or if you have any subjects you want us to address, please ask them there on our Instagram accounts.
Yeah, you can leave us a message, or if we can get a question box up, please drop it in there.
Yeah, so again, that's Nick Chels Gen Excellent Adventure on Instagram.
Or you can just type in the name of the podcast, and that will still come up.
And as far as looking ahead to the next episode, Chelsea teased the idea of T's first birthday party.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll be talking about the whole birthday culture.
That's a good idea. Okay. Have a great week, everyone.
And be excellent to each other.